Ladies and gentlemen, members and friends, it's Matt Bailey here, exploring all three of the 20th anniversary casks as a nice little quick preview ahead of their release coming up in October Outturn. October Outturn is about the 20th anniversary of the Australian branch of the Scotch Malt Whisky Society. The entire society was started in 1983 by Pip Hills, who was a bit of an adventurer, a mountaineer, an accountant who decided to build the Scotch Malt Whisky Society out of a syndicate of friends. But it wasn't until 2002 when Andre Tamas and John Rourke, two friends who got together and said, why isn't there an Australian branch? And now there is. And of course, 20 years ago, the malt whisky scene in Australia was a very different beast from what it is today. And there's a lot more appreciation of great single malts and great sharing of whisky around the country now. And I think the society has really been part of that charge, especially in the last 20 years since its foundation in the Australian branch. And that appreciation of good single malts has been appreciated over the years. Back in 2012, the Australian branch celebrated 10 years of the society with casks 33.119. In 2017, we celebrated the 15th anniversary of the club with 73.83. This year, being the 20th anniversary in 2022, we're celebrating the 20th year of the club and 20 years of changing that whisky landscape in Australia. So of course we need a 20-year-old whisky to celebrate with, and that this time came around to being 11.42. So a code, first of all, we haven't seen many of, and only 42 casks ever bottled by the society. 20 brackets 0 or 200 not out. It's actually a fun sort of cricket reference to 200 runs not out, following on from our Anzac Biscuits and Cricket Bats release, which had a bit of a cricket theme in it as well from 5 years ago. That was something I was quite proud of, that we were able to weave that into that story. And cricket's a very Australian sport, and we like to think that we're better than the Brits at playing it as well. So that's always a nice little sort of mix in the mud there, of course. And then this is a 20-year-old old and dignified from Distillery 11. Distillery 11, I'll just start by saying, before I even pour this, Distillery 11 is one of those distilleries where I guess malt whiskey lovers and malt whiskey nerds, as the growth of appreciation has exploded, start to sort of taste this particular distillery and go, oh wow, that's a really technically brilliant whiskey. There's often a lot of tropical fruit in these whiskies and a lot of interesting spirit character. I'd say the same about Distillery 59, 48, 36. They're underrated codes, and I think 11 is a hugely underrated code. But also, 42 casks in nearly 40 years of the club is not many. So, of those 42, I don't even know how many the Australian branch got, but it's not many. In fact, I can safely say this is probably the second or third cask, Distillery 11 I should say, I've seen in the last 7 or 8 years. So very few and far between. I'm going to pour just a smidge of that one here. It's a rather rare special drop, and I don't want to pour myself a big serve because it's only mid-afternoon when I'm filming this as well. So I'm going to just do a bit of a pour on this and let that sit in the glass. It's a 20-year-old sherried whiskey from a ex-PX hogshead that only yielded 152 bottles. Not a whole lot to go around for our 20th anniversary. However, we do have 2 other casks that we've bottled, especially for the celebrations this year. Immediately shows its age on the nose. Sort of dusty old armchairs, a well-oiled cricket bat, and old bookshelves. But there's a certain modernity to it as well. There's a certain you can smell it's old, but you can also smell there's a modern influence to the spirit. It's almost like what's that word for it? Like it's fresh chopped fruit at the same time as some old ripe fruit in the same bowl kind of moment. A few sort of, it's a bit earthy as well, like twigs and leaves. Like a bit of sponge cake. That's delightful on the nose. There's a lot of complexity to this that I'm not going to be able to express fully in a short video, but it holds its age really well. I've had this bottle open. There's only a smidge taken out of the top of it. I've had this bottle open now for, I'd say, about 3 weeks, and with only 1 dram missing off the top. And it's already opened up really nicely. I find with sometimes older sherried whiskies need a little bit of open time to really show themselves. There's the slightest hint of marzipan. Let's have a taste. Lovely. Fizzy peach, nectarine. Still that dusty old armchair in a library with a fresh glass of sherry. Like there's the sherry note is definitely really part of the tapestry of this whiskey, like carrying the spirit really nicely, but not getting in the way. It's held up the fact that it's a first fill as well really nicely. It's obviously a fairly inactive first fill, and it's just delightful. This bottling, along with, of course, the other two bottlings, will be available throughout October outturn. Have a look at the staggered dates in outturn, 7th, 14th, 21st for each of the releases. And this is a rather special drop to celebrate 20 years of the Society's branch here in Australia with a 20-year-old whiskey. Hope you can take this journey with me. I hope to see you at some of our 20th anniversary events, and make sure you to refer a friend, or of course, if you haven't already, join the Society and go in the draw to win all three in this bespoke Huon Pine custom box. We'll see you all soon. Sanjivar, happy 20th anniversary, and cheers.